We now have 3 vaccines that have been developed and recommended for approval against a disease that we did not know 1 year ago. None of them is perfect. None of them has all the characteristics that we might want to help us, to allow us to move completely forward. None of them is a magic wand on its own, but together they provide tools and options to prevent different aspects of the disease.
Well, our Brussels correspondent Dave Keating has more now on that decision by the EMA.
This statement from the EMA, I should caveat that this is a recommendation for authorization. The final decision needs to be taken by the European Commission in conjunction with member states, but we are expecting that to happen very, very quickly, I think even by the end of today. The most significant thing here is that the EMA did not approve only for people under 65. That was an expectation after Germany's health committee said that it did not have enough information to recommend this vaccine for people over 65. There just wasn't enough data on it. In their statement, the EMA does address this issue. They say there are not yet enough results in older participants to provide a figure for how well the vaccine will work in this group. However, protection is expected given that an immune response is seen in this age group and based on experience with other vaccines. So they're saying they concur that there isn't enough information to say that this will work on people over 65 for certain, but they think they can extrapolate from other vaccines that it will work in people over 65. Now, it's possible that the Commission, in its authorization decision later today, will say, nope, this is only for people under 65. I think that's unlikely, but it's a possibility. It's also possible for any individual country to limit this vaccine only to people under 65. I think that is probably what Germany will do. As to the 60% figure, I think we should keep in mind that back in October, we thought that any vaccine with a success rate over 50% was going to be very good. This doesn't look great when you compare it to the efficacy figures for Pfizer and Moderna, which are much higher. But actually, if you go back just a couple months ago, 60% would have been considered quite good. So essentially, you have kind of the Champions League. One MEP put it this way to me. You have the Champions League at the top, and then you have Moderna in one league below. It's still a good vaccine, just maybe not as good as those others.
Okay, and
as AstraZeneca.
Yes, and this approval has been given, hasn't it, Dave, amid a growing row between the EU and the company that makes the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Brussels says that the drug maker has reneged on its commitment by cutting deliveries to the bloc.
Yes, so we just got this announcement that the Commission has adopted this regulation for an export transparency mechanism. This means that any company producing vaccines is going to have to notify the Commission if they plan to export vaccines made in the EU out of the EU, and that in theory, EU governments could block that export if that company hasn't met its full obligation to the EU. This is the Commission's effort to try to kind of claw back vaccines that it thinks AstraZeneca gave away to the UK, vaccine doses that were meant for the EU. Very significantly, 92 countries will be exempt from this export ban, including European countries such as those in the Western Balkans, also the EFTA countries, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. Developing countries will be exempt. Guess who's not exempt? The UK. As far as I can tell, it's the only country in Europe not exempt, maybe with the exception of Russia. The Health Commissioner, Stella Kyriakides, was really keen to say they are not targeting any country in particular, but I think if you look at this, it's very, very clear what country they're targeting here.